Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Canny Crystals the podcast. I hope that everyone is well and doing good. If you live in the UK, what the hell is this weather, guys? It was probably the hottest it's ever been last weekend, and then just this morning me and my mum went to a local park for a walk and it absolutely hammered it down. We got drenched. And then the wind, oh my god, it belted us, honestly. It left our skin feeling, all icy and cold. And honest to God, I feel like I'm just starting to thaw out now, so apologies. Oh god, I can barely feel my fingers. I've had to put the heating on. We're in June, people. What's going on? Let's just hope that the weather picks up by next week, because I'm really excited. I'm heading down to Lincoln to see Francesca Amber from Law of Attraction Change My Life. Not only for a bit of a catch-up in her outdoor pool, but to also plan our Happy Place Festival talks. Yes, I'm so excited about the workshop because we're basically setting it all around manifestation, crystal healing, and mental well-being. Because Happy Place kind of encapsulates all of that anyway. So we'll be talking about what manifestation is, how our mental well-being can be a byproduct of manifestation, how crystals can help us to achieve balance and peace in life, how to achieve your goals in life utilizing manifestation, crystals and self-care, and then there'll also be a little meditation practice utilizing crystals, and I'm going to provide some of my own crystals as well. We're going to get rid of any limiting beliefs, anxiety and fear, and then there'll also be a short journaling exercise at the end just for finding yourself and achieving what you desire. I can't wait, honestly. I've had a few people messages saying the Happy Place Festival website is a little confusing for how to book tickets. And do you know what? I agree. So I'll quickly run you through it. If you head to happyplacefestival.com and you press the stage and class schedules from the main menu, you can then select whichever date that you're attending. So myself and Fran will be doing our talks on both Saturday the 13th of July in London at Chiswick House and Gardens, and then also Saturday the 31st of August in Manchester at Tatton Park. So you just press on one of those dates, and then what you're looking for is the workshop that's called Elevate Your Existence, Manifestation, Crystals and Wellbeing, okay? So I think it's a little confusing because the website text is so big that it only shows the Elevate Your Existence part, so it doesn't even have our names or anything. So anyway, you click that, and then at the bottom of our workshop description, there's a black bold link that says, click here to book workshops. And that's where you book onto the workshops. So we're in the meditation and mindfulness TP on both dates. So it's a bit long-winded to book tickets, but I'm hoping that you manage. It's almost like they're making it hard for people to attend. Who knows what they're doing? I've been told, however, that there are only a limited number of tickets left for both dates as well. So if you do want to come, please do book now, just to avoid any disappointment. We're even going to be creating our own little workbook for the session as well, just to allow you to journal in, so I'm very, very excited for that. Anyway, on to today's episode. And spoiler alert, you might find this episode a little bit weird or creepy in ways, but I just wanted to share with you all a little experience that I had a few weeks ago with my Moldavite. So obviously I bang on about Moldavite all the time, don't I? You know I do. And how it can be truly transformational when used in the right way. And I'm always getting so many messages on a daily basis from you lot asking how to use it. So I even wrote a blog post on my website. So when you just go to cannycrystals.co.uk, hit the main menu, just hit the word blog from that and you can have a look for yourself. The blog itself was all about getting the most out of your Moldavite. And it made me immediately think about, probably for the last 3 or 4 months, how I've not truly been working with my Moldavite because all I've been doing is carrying it around in my pocket. Wearing it on my necklace, wearing it on my ring, but I haven't actually physically been working with it. So by writing this blog piece, it just gave me a little kick up the jacksie just to start properly, putting me intentions into getting the most out of it. And most nights, I'll sleep with my Moldavite by my bedside, on my little bedside table with my books. But for some reason, I was heading to bed and I popped on my little face mask with my Bluetooth speakers built in because I'm an absolute 95-year-old granny. And this little sleep mask is what I listen to my subliminals to overnight. And I just suddenly had a thought to myself, like, why don't I pop my larger piece of Moldavite inside the sleep mask so then it's held in place against my third eye chakra, right in the middle of your eyebrows above the bridge of your nose. I just thought, isn't that a great idea, if I do say so myself? So, I mean, there were times a couple of years ago when I would sellotape it to my third eye whilst meditating, normally because I'd fall asleep during meditation, and then the Moldavite would roll out. I'd end up having to search for it everywhere, and looking for a piece of Moldavite on a black carpet. It's horrific. So, this was a bit of a game changer idea for me by popping it inside of my sleep mask. So, Moldavite is all about communicating with that higher power. Transformation, receiving messages and downloads from above and so on, just to help you get onto the path that you're always meant to be on in life. So I lay on my bed at night. I popped on my mask, I slipped my Moldavite in there all snug, I whacked on my subliminals and I settled down to sleep. And I actually spoke to one of my members in Manifest with Mart about this experience last week because it's very, very odd what happened, okay? So I vaguely remember drifting off to sleep. And as I did, I almost felt like I could hear every word in me subliminal, which is weird because obviously, with subliminals, the audio level is below the conscious threshold. So I just kind of passed this off as me subconsciously knowing the affirmations that were being said because, I'd recorded them. And every now and again, when I'm listening to subliminals, I'll hear the odd word. But this was different. It felt clear as day, as if I'd just recorded my voice and played them back at normal sound level. And I remember after what I thought was about 10 minutes of being in bed, that JJ, my little dog, I thought he'd jumped up onto my legs, which is usually, his way of signalling that he wants to go out for a wee. And when I pulled the sleep mask off, my Moldavite obviously came flying out, but I looked down at the bottom of the bed, and this is starting to sound like a creepy horror film, but there was nothing there. I was confused as hell, because I honestly thought that, he'd jumped up on the bed and he'd lay across my legs. So I got up anyway and I went to the top of the landing to where his little bedroom is. Yes, he has his own room. It's actually just a store cupboard with his bed, toys, food and water in, but it's very cute. And there he was, curled up, fast asleep in his bed, not making a noise. So this left me, as you can imagine, a little creeped out, if I'm honest, because I honestly thought he had jumped up on my legs. And I thought, maybe I just dreamt it, okay? I kind of passed it off. I had no idea what had just happened. So I went back to my bed, I checked the time, it was dot on 3 a.m, I remember that, and I'd been asleep for around 4 hours when I thought I'd been asleep for 10 minutes. So I lay down again, I popped my Moldavite back in my sleep mask, and I pulled it down over my face again, and off I went to sleep for a second time. But what happened next is weird as fuck, and I swear, I've never had it happen to me ever before, and I'm not even sure if I can explain it properly or even describe it to do it justice. It almost felt like I drifted off this second time. And then there was a kind of a loud explosion, but only inside my ears, almost like the noise of thunder. And as it rumbled further into my ears, it got louder and louder and louder, almost making me wince a little bit at how it made my head feel. So it was kind of like that feeling that you get, when you yawn and your ears feel like they fill up with all this air pressure and they go all muffly and pressurized. So odd, anyway. And at that point, I knew I was awake, but I couldn't move my body. And this is going to sound weird as well, but I could see my bedroom, even though I was aware I had my sleep mask on. So maybe it was an out-of-body experience, I'll never know. But as my eardrums were ringing with this booming noise, I felt like a voice spoke to me and said that I could ask it any questions. Now stick with me on this one, because this is where it gets super, super weird. Obviously, hearing voices in your head, never heard that before. The only time that I've ever heard that, actually, was when I was thinking about launching Canny crystals, and I heard my granddad's voice saying, "Gan Canny." But that was just like a memory kind of thing. This was a new voice that I'd never heard before, and it was in my head. It's making me sound a bit psychotic, isn't it? But just hear me out here, okay? So this new voice spoke to me and said that I could ask it any questions. So I asked about the health of my family. I asked about what the future held for us. I asked for some guidance in my current life just to ensure that I was on the right path. Just standard questions. And it actually felt so comforting hearing this loud booming voice inside my head, because it was telling me everything that I wanted to know. Until I asked a question about money and how to make more of it. And suddenly the tone of this voice changed. It almost felt like I was getting wrong. And the voice started shouting at me, asking me, how dare I ask questions about such materialistic things. It almost felt like my mum was scolding me and telling me off as a child again. And I remember the voice saying it was ending the conversation now, and just like that, the communication stopped. My ears just stopped ringing, and I felt my body again back in bed, apart from I couldn't move. And this is the strangest sensation. Like, I know some people have mentioned in the past about them suffering from sleep paralysis, and from what they've described, I feel like this is exactly what I was feeling. I felt like someone was sitting on my chest. It was so tight and I was really struggling to breathe, but I felt wide awake. But I couldn't move my arms or my legs or anything. And it honestly felt like I was lay there for hours on end. Time felt like it was passing by so slowly. And I was trying to open my mouth to shout something so that Johnny would roll over and help us. But it felt like I was just wheezing words. So I was kind of like saying, help me. But I was actually just going, help me, help me, over and over again. And my voice kind of got stronger and stronger, until I eventually got so loud, it obviously woke Johnny up and he pulled my sleep mask off, and I literally sat up and screamed in his face. As though he had just brought me back to life or something. You know, like when you see in films when there's someone on life support or having CPR and they just suddenly jolt upright and take that huge gasp of air like a... That was exactly what this was like. It was the most surreal thing I've ever experienced in my whole life, honestly. And when I grabbed my phone to make some notes of what had just happened to us as well, I realised the time was 3:10. So all of that, what seemed like hours and hours had passed, that had all happened in the space of 10 minutes. I actually couldn't believe any of it. And I don't think Johnny had a fucking clue what was going on either, because he simply just rolled over and went back to sleep. Meanwhile, I'm sat there in bed, I'm sweating, I'm breathing really heavy, and then my watch even pinged a notification up to say that my heart rate was unusually high. Now, you might be thinking, was this all just a bit of a lucid dream? Has Mart actually lost the plot and turned psychotic in his old age? Or was it the power of the Moldavite? And the truth is, we'll probably never know. And it is open to interpretation, but I wanted to talk about different messages, different signs, different synchronicities that we can receive in life, because I told one of my friends about this little story that I've just told you there, and she turned to me and asked, so you had a bad dream? But I honestly don't think it was a dream. I felt like because I lived it, it really actually happened. And that voice, although it was booming, and although I had all this pressure in my ears and it was so loud and almost painful every time this voice spoke, it felt like my head was going to pop. But every time this voice spoke, I felt this kind of almost like a peace and a calmness and a clarity inside of us. And I can't really explain it. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe I need to see someone about it. But this voice just left me feeling so serene until I asked that question about money. So isn't that really weird? So I honestly believe that messages, signs, synchronicities, whatever they are, I often believe that they emerge as kind of beacons of meaning, and they're guiding us towards deeper understanding and alignment with our true paths. And whether or not we perceive these as messages from the other side, or, you know, guidance from spirit guides, or affirmations that, you know, our manifestations and dreams are materializing, whatever it is, it's providing us with insights into the unseen dimensions of our reality. So signs and synchronicities, they're often subtle, but their impact can be quite transformative as well, just like this little experience was for me. So a sign can be anything that stands out really in our environment. So it might be a specific symbol, a number, an animal, or even a phrase that's just overheard in conversation. And these signs aren't random. They carry specific meanings that resonate with our current life situations, or even sometimes our inner thoughts as well. And synchronicities, on the other hand, they're meaningful coincidences that kind of occur with such frequency and precision that they almost seem orchestrated by the universe. And many people believe that signs and synchronicities are messages from loved ones who might have passed away. Or these messages even sometimes come in the form of dreams like mine. Some people see feathers, some people see coins, some people see particular numbers like seeing 1111 out every day on a clock. The intent behind these messages can really range from offering comfort to providing guidance. For instance, you know, someone grieving the loss of a loved one might find some solace in seeing a white feather, because that's quite a common symbol that is believed to indicate the presence of someone close to us. And I think I've mentioned about this on the pod before, so apologies if I had. But when my granddad passed in 2019, we were left with his laptop and a load of paperwork to work through because he basically sorted all the bills. My nan was a bit of a technophobe. She couldn't even use the Sky remote in the end. And he had wrote down passwords everywhere on these bits of paperwork, okay? So we were able to get into his laptop and sort everything out anyway because we had all of his passwords. But his password for everything was the word Geronimo followed by lots of numbers, okay? So Geronimo is a word that I don't even think I've heard anyone use in actual real life. But say, for example, you know, someone's about to jump out of a plane to parachute jump. They might shout, Geronimo! It's that kind of thing. It's a very old-fashioned word. I have no idea why that was his password. But anyway, we were all sat grieving after his death, probably about a week or two after he died, I think it was. And I turned on the TV, and there was a whole news story about an alpaca that was going to be put down because it had this disease, and there was a huge uproar about it, and its name flashed up on the screen. It was called Geronimo. We couldn't believe it. I remember talking away to my granddad's ashes one day as well, and I asked him for a sign, and I turned the TV on, and the song that was playing was You'll Never Walk Alone. Now, my granddad was a huge Liverpool Football Club fan, and that's their song. So he always used to sing it on karaoke when I was growing up as well. I've always just associated that song with my granddad. So it was kind of like a giant hug from him, almost like he was letting me know that he was still around, whereas most people would have just seen that alpaca or heard that song and never even batted an eyelid. So it is all subjective, and each message that we receive, or every sign or synchronicity that we see, it means something different to every single one of us. So Francesca Amber from Law of Attraction Changed My Life, for example, she put a story on the other day on Instagram about how she's been reading The Goddess Path, which is the book by Kirsty Gallagher, and the book talks about calling in goddess energy. Someone randomly sent her a Queen of Hearts playing card, and she mentioned how her friend Polly, who she was with at the time, didn't get why Fran was so freaked out. But I got it. Because when me and Fran went on that cruise last year, we were in this place called Wiki Woo in Ibiza, and a magician was going around the place, and he did some close-up magic with us, and Fran pulled the Queen of Hearts in one of his tricks. And she even kept the card, and she put it on her altar that she made by reading this book. So again, although it didn't seem significant to her friend Polly, I got it, and Fran got it. It kind of all depends on how you interpret those messages. So if we talk about the communication from the other side, that's often seen as a way for deceased loved ones maybe to reassure the living that they're still present in some form. And I had a great chat about this with Mike the Medium last year on the pod. So go back and listen to that episode if you've not yet heard it. It was an amazing episode. I got very emotional at the end because he gave me some messages. Go and listen to it if you haven't heard it. But he explains signs and things so well in that episode. And, you know, that belief is deeply rooted in so many cultures, so many spiritual traditions, where that boundary between the living and the dead is considered permeable. And, you know, they can cross over from side to side. There's even things like ancestor worship in many African and Asian cultures as well. It's done on the belief that the deceased continue to influence the lives of their descendants, and they can be contacted through various rituals and signs. So, moving on from that, we've got spirit guides, and spirit guides are another source of signs and synchronicities. So these guides are thought to be kind of non-physical entities that assist us in navigating our earthly journeys. So they might be our ancestors, they might be angels, other spiritual beings, and people who are attuned to their guidance often report receiving signs in moments of decision or crisis. It's like that time after my granddad's passing in 2019. I think I spoke about this on the first episode, where I was laying in the bath and I was really, really depressed, really anxious, really down all the time. Couldn't really see a way out, couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel for love nor money. And I remember being laying in the bath one night and I just shouted up and said, come on, someone show me, please, that this is going to get better. And the very next day, I was sent to Liverpool in the NHS, and that's when I met Carly, who introduced me into crystals. It's kind of like it was my spirit guides there. That's kind of what it felt like. It felt like my spirit guides had helped me in that moment of crisis. So these signs can manifest as intuitive nudges, you know, vivid dreams, or even external events that just steer us in a particular direction. And I'm honestly starting to wonder whether the voice that I heard in my head in the story that I told at the start of this episode was in fact maybe one of my spirit guides. So like I said, who knows? We'll probably never know. But I do ask my spirit guides for help all the time. And I often advise my members to do this as well. For example, someone might be contemplating a bit of a career change and they might repeatedly see signs related to their desired profession. So, they might be hearing about it in conversations. They might be seeing advertisements about it. They might even be meeting people working in that specific area. These synchronicities can be interpreted as affirmations from your spirit guides, encouraging you to pursue that new path. The relationship with spirit guides often involves developing your intuition and just being open to the subtle cues that the universe provides. So practices such as meditation, journaling, mindfulness, they can all enhance your ability to perceive and interpret these signs. And when we foster a bit of a deeper connection with our inner selves, we can better align with the guidance of our spirit guides. And another perspective on signs and synchronicities is similar to that I put on last Sunday on Instagram, is that they are indicators that our manifestations and our dreams are en route to us. So this view is kind of popular in the context of obviously law of attraction, because when we focus on a specific desire or goal, we begin to attract experiences and opportunities that align with that focus. For instance, someone who's manifesting a new job, they might start noticing job listings that match their desired roles. They might receive recommendations from friends. They might even bump into people that already work in that area. And these occurrences are seen as signs that the universe is responding to their intentions and that their manifestation is in progress. So it's kind of like, almost like a little nudge to say, keep the faith, okay? Don't stop now. That's kind of what it's saying. So interpreting signs and synchronicities, I think it requires a combination of intuition and discernment, because while some signs are immediately clear and resonate deeply, others may be, let's say, ambiguous. They might require a bit of reflection. Kind of like that episode that I did a few weeks ago about, lucid dreaming and things like that. It's like when something requires a bit of reflection afterwards and then you get the hidden meaning. So keeping a journal can be helpful in tracking these occurrences and, noticing patterns over time. But I also think that it's important to approach signs and synchronicities with a bit of a sense of curiosity and openness, rather than just having some rigid expectations. 1111, there we go, I've seen it. Oh, look at that, 111 at the end of someone's phone number. Oh, my order's just come to £11.11. That kind of thing. The universe often communicates with us in ways that are unexpected and kind of beyond our immediate comprehension. So just be curious and just be a bit open. And by remaining open to those possibilities and just trusting the process, we can better understand the messages that are being sent to us. So from a psychological perspective, the recognition of signs and synchronicities can also be seen as a way of making meaning in our lives. So us as humans, we have an inherent need to find patterns and significance in every experience. And that need isn't just a cognitive function, but also a deeply spiritual one, because it connects us to a larger narrative and purpose. So spiritually, signs and synchronicities kind of affirm that interconnectedness of all things. There's just kind of a reminder that we're not isolated beings. We're part of a vast, intricate web of existence on this earth. And that realization can be really comforting, especially during times of uncertainty or transition. So it's just encouraging a sense of trust in the unfolding of life and a belief that we are being guided. We're supported by forces beyond our immediate perception. So whether viewed as messages from the other side, guidance from spirits, or indicators that our manifestations, signs, synchronicities, little experiences that we have, they kind of serve as reminders that we are all deeply interconnected with the universe. And when we embrace these signs with an open heart and a curious mind, we just allow ourselves to navigate our journeys with greater awareness and trust, because they encourage us to remain receptive to the subtle whispers of the universe as well. And that's going to guide us towards our true path and affirm that, just like my granddad's favourite song, we'll never walk alone. So as we continue to, get into that state of intuition and stay attuned to these divine messages, we can live more aligned and fulfilling lives. And that's just going to assure us that we're supported by forces beyond our control. So ultimately, signs and synchronicities, they're just going to enrich our lives. They're going to connect us to that larger narrative. They're going to help provide us with a bit of comfort or direction or a sense of purpose, So I hope that you all enjoyed this episode. I hope that it gave you a sense of comfort, and I hope it landed exactly where it needed to for you all as well. Who knows, a lot of you might want to try out the Moldavite thing on your third eye chakra when going to bed. If you do, let me know how you find it and what experience you have, because honestly, I love hearing shit like that. And please take a screenshot of your phone listening to this episode and tag me on socials. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I am at Canny Crystals, and I'll share them all across my story. Just one last thing before I go, actually. Last Friday, I held my money mindset workshop, where we all work through our money memories and how these memories, although seemingly quite irrelevant, have formed limiting beliefs and blocks in our current lives and, stopping us from enhancing our wealth and abundance. And the engagement was phenomenal. So thank you if you attended live. Everyone was so honest, so open. Everyone was really engaging. Everyone took part. Everyone shared their money memories and stories. And so far, the video has been watched by more than 1,200 of you on YouTube. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you've not yet watched, you can still watch the replay, which is on my YouTube channel. Just type Canny Crystals. Or you can simply comment the word workshop on any of my Instagram posts and it'll automatically DM you the link to watch the video back. Please go and give it a watch. Let me know what you think. Give it a watch and work through it, because honestly, the stuff that you will uncover just by unraveling some of these little niggling money memories that you didn't even know that you had will severely enhance your wealth and abundance into your life. So go and give that a watch. It's totally free. There's no payments or anything like that. It's just a free video to watch. It's a 90-minute video, so make sure that, you're going to be somewhere that you're a bit undisturbed before you start watching it, because the last thing you want is children climbing across you or a dog barking when you're trying to do this work. But honestly, I loved talking to you all, so I can't wait to do another one soon as well. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please, please, please feel free to leave a review or a star rating on whichever app you're listening to this on. This really does help keep the podcast high in the charts. We are at number 1 again in the UK for spirituality. Celebrate good times, come on. And honestly, I am so, so thankful for each and every one of you that listen to this podcast week after week, telling your friends, sharing it across your socials. Honestly, I'm so, so proud of you, and thank you so much for sharing. Right, anyway, I hope that you all have a super amazing and relaxing weekend, and I will see you all next Friday for another episode. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Bye.